Hey Eric, I had more to say, and it's easier to film a video than it is to type. So, under Ubuntu, Plex Server can be installed in one of three ways. Two different bare metal installs or in a Docker container. And right now I'm not fully sure if you've used Docker to install and configure Plex Server. So, the first bare metal way is just by downloading the Linux distribution that's appropriate. So it would be, let's see, this one right here. You download the .deb file. Now unfortunately you also have to learn all about Linux permission issues in order for that Plex server to see both local and USB media, and as you add more hard drives to a system running Ubuntu, you have to mount the drives and have permissions to see them and all that jazz. So that's kind of a pain in the ass for a new user of Linux, but Linux is super stable. So the other option for a bare metal install, and this would be a great option for a simple server, is to go to Ubuntu's App Store and just search for Plex and install Plex Media Server as a snap package. So this is not a normal distribution. This is a snap one. It's Plex's very own, it's Ubuntu's very own way of having their own app store, basically. But there's a limitation to this, and there's a benefit. The limitation is I have not been able to move a snap package install from Ubuntu into a Docker container or into another bare metal install under Linux. A regular install can be moved easily between different devices running Linux. So like I can take a container under Ubuntu, move it into a container on my Synology NAS, move it into a container under Unraid, and so on. I can take a bare metal Windows install and move that into a Docker container under my Synology NAS. I've done that. I have a video for that. But I have not successfully been able to move a snap package of Plex. So that's the con. The benefit is, the pro is, that you don't have to worry about Linux permission issues for any local or USB media connected to a small Ubuntu server. So if you create a media folder, you just see it. If you have USB media, you just see it. So it's a great way to run a small server. It's just not portable for some reason. But it solves the Linux permission issues, as does a Docker container. So about all the configuration information you need from your own computer to install Plex or any other related service in a container is you need to open terminal and type ID and just put these numbers on a scratch pad. The UID and the GID number. And for this install, it's 1,000 for both. So, you use a terminal, you install Docker with a command, and then you get Portainer installed with some more commands, and from there on in, it's Graphical City. Alright, so here's Portainer for this install. And I have a Portainer on my toolbar for my Synology NAS also. This is just a web service, and I make web apps and stick them on the toolbar. Which I'll try to remember to show you how to do that if you're going to use Ubuntu. Alright, so here's Portainer. If I click the icon, I can see the two containers running on this desktop, Portainer and Plex. If you want to update Plex, well, I can't update Portainer from within Portainer. I'd have to do that manually from the terminal. But Plex I can. So I would stop the container. I have notice of that stopping. And then I would click the Recreate button, slide this tab over to re-pull the image, click Recreate again. And the container started up by pulling the latest image, which would update the container. It says starting, and in a little bit it'll just be running. So that's all quick and easy. To create the container in the first place, you would do that through a stack. And when you said stacks, that's why I thought you were running Docker containers. This is just what I've named this stack. And if I go into the editor, you can see how I've configured this container before I spun it up the first time. So I've got some information about the NVIDIA GPU in this computer. I'm pointing to the volume, so this is the home of the Docker container. That's where the config information lives. This points to the media that's on this, and this is for transcoding. I've got my time zone. You see the PUID. Well, actually, the UID and the GID numbers are just PUID and PGID as defined here. And I've got environmental info about my NVIDIA card. And that's about it. I don't know why this space is here. So any change, you would update the stack, and you get to the same screen we were at before. And now I'm going to repull that image all over again with that small change I made. The container started up. If we go to the container tab, you'll see it starting. Let me go to the web app I've got. Go into the settings, and I'm always running multiple test servers. This is my main server. Then these are the test ones. So here's the Ubuntu one running, and if I click into that, I can now drop down to transcoder, and you'll see what I defined in the container allows Plex to see my video card. So that's kind of the quick options under Ubuntu. And in case you're interested, let me show you how I've set this up in case you want to change the look. I like this horizontal toolbar at the bottom. So in your settings, go to Ubuntu Desktop, and the panel mode option has everything justified to the left. So if you turn it off, it's centered. And this position on screen just changes it from the default left side of the screen to the bottom, or even the right if you want it. There's more screen real estate at the bottom, and you see I have a lot of icons on my toolbar. Okay, so now let's go into Chrome. Let's create a Chrome app. So you see I've got one for Gmail, I've got one for my other email account, a Chrome app for Facebook, Google Calendar. This is the real program calculator, the writer program. This is another Chrome app for docs, real program for files, so on. This is a real program. This is a web app, real program, web app, program, 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 web app, program, web app, web app, web app, web app. I feel like I'm Elmer Fudd saying rabbit, and so on. So anyway, they're all searchable. So if I do that, it just pops up. Okay, so how do you create one? Go to Google Chrome, and you can go to any site you want. Let's see, I've owned multiple Kia cars, so let me do Kia. I don't want that. I no longer own a Soul, I own a Seltos. Alright, so say you wanted an icon for Kia. Go to the main site, click the three dots over here, go down to Cast, Save, and Share, and install Pages app. It's always install Pages app. Adjust the name however you want it. And lots of times it'll have an icon. So now it's a window. So if I close it and go look for Kia, It opens up as its own icon, and now it's down here in the toolbar, and oh, there's a command you can run to allow a second click of this to minimize it. This is not Ubuntu default. If you're interested in that, let me know. I'll find the terminal command to run to give you that functionality. And when you create one, you get this icon on the desktop that I just highlight and delete. So those are web apps, and they come in handy. You want to go to Sob quickly and not have it always in a tab. This opened up off screen. Make a web app for it. It doesn't have to be on your toolbar. When I get to Sonar quickly, make a web app for it. When I get to Hydra quickly, and that opened off screen too. Get to my calendar quickly. Again, that opened up off screen. So, these web apps kind of make your desktop computer, your laptop, function like a Chromebook alongside regular programs installed. And Ubuntu's a great distro. I keep thinking, why am I using Pop OS? Because I can make Ubuntu look just like it. And the nice thing about it is OBS Studio works fine under it. I may be talking out of hand because I think I'm still using Xorg on this system. I don't know if this is using Wayland or not. So the transition to Wayland as the manager for the screen from Xorg might screw up OBS Studio. But I'm sure eventually it'll all work out. So I don't know how to tell if I'm running Xorg or not besides logging out and checking to see if I can change the session. So when you log out of Ubuntu and you're at the user screen, I think if you touch on the user, then in the bottom right hand corner a gear will appear, and when you click on that you can change between a Wayland or a Xorg, X-org session. And Wayland is the future, even though screen recording software might not work perfectly with it. So this is probably too much information, but if you're a new Ubuntu user and you kind of like this setup, it's pretty easy to get going. And again, if you like the idea that you can click an app again and have it minimize, let me know. I'll get you the terminal command for that. Happy Plexing!